I'm delighted that the Global BioImaging meeting has the opportunity to take place, and of course I'm also delighted to be able to present for the Global BioImaging community. The only disadvantage is that we do not have a physical meeting, but I think the time comes when we will have those opportunities as well. On the table here you have a beautiful piece of an instrument which was a high-class instrument not so long time ago. So in, let's say, 100 years ago, this was a very good routine instrument from those. In those days the company was called Lights, and now we know it with a different name. But of course the instruments we have now, they have very little resemblance to this kind of instruments. They hardly look like a microscope, and the same I think applies for many of the devices we have in medical sciences. They're very advanced pieces. They're very expensive, and they are in scarce supply. For the average user, of course, in the 1920s, this could have been rather affordable for a scientist having a little bit of research money, and they could buy this kind of instrument by themselves and for their grants. Nowadays, it's very hard for any average scientist to buy this kind of instruments that we have in current use in around science. That is the opportunity, and that is the task of Euro-BioImaging, to provide open access to instruments that are very advanced, very expensive, and quite complicated to use. So with the instrument you don't only get the actual machine, but you also get service, you get know-how, you get best practice, you even get probes and so forth. So this opportunity is already there. This is for everyone to use. Euro-BioImaging is definitely open access, open science, open source. That is the mode of operation of Euro-BioImaging.
The Euro-BioImaging network is made of 33 nodes distributed in most of the participating countries. The nodes can be single-sited or multi-sited. In this case, they involve several centers in different locations in the same countries. Overall, the 33 nodes count on the services provided by 137 imaging facilities. Definitely a good coverage of the European territory that will be further extended with the call for new node foreseen for the next fall. Altogether, this node provide currently access to almost 50 imaging technologies, of which about 30 in the field of biological imaging and the remaining one in the field of biomedical in vivo imaging. Euro-BioImaging merges activities in the field of biological imaging and in the field of medical imaging. Therefore, the nodes are basically classified in biological imaging node 16 and in biomedical node 12. Interestingly, the last call for node has prompted countries to submit a proposal for mixed nodes. Now we have 5 mixed nodes. And for a country like Denmark, Austria, and Israel, these are multi-site nodes that represent the full country in the Euro-BioImaging network.
Since March 2020, we have become witness of how an infrastructure that brings open access to imaging facilities to the larger scientific community can truly contribute to excellent science and to the improvement of health and well-being. Many of our nodes have supported and are still supporting the research on the virus and its variants, to understand the life cycle, identify suitable drug targets, and to support the development of new diagnostic tools. In responding to a health crisis like this, research data, including imaging data, plays a critical role. So therefore, Europe launched last year the COVID-19 data portal, which is hosted by the Global BioImaging. This brings together relevant data sets for sharing to accelerate coronavirus research. And since its start, it has been used intensely by researchers around the globe and by now comprises over 3 million data records. Feeding into the COVID-19 data portal, Euro-BioImaging is supporting its users so that they can make their image data from COVID-19 research data fair and include it into linked public repositories, such as the Bioimage Archive. Some of our Euro-BioImaging nodes, the travel restrictions meant adapting the service they provided. This includes sample shipment, remote control of imaging experiments by the user, or virtual training courses instead of hands-on practice. For example, the facility staff at the phase contrast node in Italy started receiving shipped samples and performing the image acquisition for the users, rather than providing the users access to the machine. This meant a change in perspective and developing new ways of working, as well as an increase of required staff time. But it allowed also the user to continue their project. All in all, it has been a very challenging year for all of us, but in many cases, workable solutions could be found to keep the business open for user access in our facilities. What I particularly appreciated was the launch of the Euro-BioImaging Virtual Pub on Fridays, which started off as a very informal and small gathering of Euro-BioImaging staff from nodes and hub. And now it has become an internationally recognized series of seminars on highly relevant topics in biological and biomedical imaging. And all imaging enthusiasts are more than welcome to join us every Friday to gather and exchange your knowledge and experience with us.
The big opportunities are really ahead of us when the community, the scientific community, and also the service providers realize how networked they are within Euro-BioImaging. So using the data, using the networking opportunities, once that comes through, then we will see amazing things. Also, of course, in the future, what we will see the combination of imaging data with other types of data to an increasing extent, so that imaging is not only images literally, but that you have several different dimensions of knowledge that comes in from genomics, proteomics, other types of big data. And then when the community of service providers also realize that they are really together working for the same goals, this gives amazing power to the imaging community and to the stakeholders.